Welcome back, my wonderful artists. I'm really excited to bring you the very last part of our cube town that we're making. So get your pencils ready, get your rulers ready. Today's cube town is about special details and adding color. So let's get started. Find your paper, find your pencil. So now that we have done our drawing for our mom and dad VP, grandma VP, and we made VP's house. Some students want to do a little bit more. So since we've been doing rectangular prisms and cubes, really there are other shapes that you can make three-dimensionally. So on page 66 of the sixth grade art book, there is, on the bottom, there's some extra shapes or forms. Forms are three-dimensional shapes that show you how to draw. So I'm just going to show you a couple because students often have questions. So here's one. We're going to start with a cylinder. Okay, a cylinder starts out with a circle, but then goes off into the distance. So there's kind of a straight line on the top and the bottom. So basically, if you're going to do this, all you have to do is start with a circle. So anything that's a circle, a quarter, a penny, a block. You can even use bigger circles um, like a sour cream container, anything that you have in your house, a lid to a yogurt container that you can make a circle with. So you can put it anywhere, wherever you have space. I'm going to put mine kind of below the horizon line. I'm actually just going to trace this circle right here for this cylinder. Go right around it with my sharpened pencil. And to make this circle look a little bit more three-dimensional, make it look like a cylinder. Say there was like a space junk and there was a huge pop can that fell out of the galaxy onto our cube town. How you would do this, instead of connecting the gas and the electric, you would want to find the farthest side. So one here and one here, the two farthest sides. So our target dots technically would go here and here. So the edge of the diameter of the circle, like you learned in math class. And then you're going to take your ruler or straight edge, and you are going to line it up with your vanishing point, VP, and the edge is right here. And then I'm going to draw that line. All right, there's one. And I'm going to do the other side. The farthest edge of the circle, the outer circumference, right here. Right, a nice light line. Now, it looks kind of like that cylinder is going on for a long distance, or if there was a tunnel, or if VP had a megaphone, if you want to do that pop can, that's a cool idea too. But here's the trick. See this curved line here? We need to make a parallel curved line. So the best you can, and you want to free draw this. You don't want to trace anything because it won't be the same size. It's smaller. As things go off in the distance, they look smaller. So that's going to be our cylinder, our pop can, our whatever drop down from the galaxy. Erase your guidelines that you don't need. And easy peasy lemon squeezy, that is how you do your cylinder. So like this block is a cylinder. Now if you want to add details for it, like if it really is a pop can, you can add the opening. It's like space junk that came down. You can add a smaller concentric circle for the rim, best you can. You could, write space soda on it, and there you go. It fell down from outer space. All right, another shape that students often ask is, how do you do a triangular prism? Same way. Now, you're not going to do a pyramid the same. That's a little bit different. But a triangular prism like this, I'm going to show you how. So you start with a triangle. Anywhere you want. Let's do this one. I do have some space over here. So I'm going to use my ruler. And I don't want it too close to VP. So basically wherever you have excess space, you can do this. And this is kind of like what we did for the pitched roof for Grandma's house. Now I'm making mine like a 90-degree triangle, but you can make it any triangle you want, really. It won't matter. It could be equilateral. And then the closest corners are going to go to VP. So if I put a little target dot here, here's my vanishing point. Here's my target dot right here. Make sure they are lined up. Right there. Another target dot here. So all the closest corners. I'm going to show you another trick if you're not sure. This corner, what do we do with this corner? If I put a target dot here, because I'm not sure, and I go to connect through VP, you can do that. But if it goes through the original shape, it will make it look clear. It will make it look as if it is a glass prism, which is fine. But if that's not what you're looking for, if it's something like this, where it's a solid piece of wood that is painted or in color, then you don't have to worry about it. So anytime you have a target dot and you're not sure, if it goes through the original shape, it will look three-dimensional. It'll look clear. If you don't want it to look that way, make your life easier, then the last that you have to worry about that one, the last thing you do is see this parallel line or this line. We need to get that parallel. So the parallel lines are the lines that are closer to VP. So these are kind of like extra special. You do the best you can to get this parallel. You can take your pencil and your ruler and kind of line them up and use that trick I taught you. Do the best you can because it is on a diagonal, so I understand. That's okay. So it looks kind of like a tent. So if VP wanted to camp out here, and then I erase my guidelines. Kind of like the idea of a tent. That'd be cool because, you know, VP is kind of a nature guy. All right, so any other shapes that you want to try? Now, there's one that is kind of strange. It is called a sphere. And this is a gumball. I have another gumball, a red and a white one. The gumball is a sphere. So the sphere doesn't really have a side. So if you want to make a sphere, the trick to do it is you have to shade it or add value to it. Values of the lightness or darkness of the color. So say I want to do a sphere. You start out with a circle. So you can free draw a circle or draw a circle, right? And when you draw this circle, you're going to anticipate that there's no sides. If you draw the sides to it, then it's going to look like the cylinder. To get this circle to look three-dimensional round, if you look at the gumball that I actually have here, the red one or the white one, you're going to see that there's a light source coming from kind of where my finger is pointing that way. So you choose a light source, and you can tell because there's a little glare or a shine on the gumballs. And then there's also a cast shadow. So you may want to think about where you put your light source. A light source could be a sun, a glowing planet, could be a huge star, kind of like the sun. It could be a light bulb, as a matter of fact. Whatever light source you want. So if I keep it consistent with my light bulb here, and it's coming down and shining here, I know that the glare is going to be on this side. We just draw a light circle. And I know the farthest part away, over here, will be a dark value. So if I use my pencil and just kind of shade it, I'm going to put a dark value on this side. So like just say, for instance, it's white and gray. Just kind of use the side of my pencil. See, I'm holding it, and I'm already shading it in. And then you're going to gradually darken the farthest away from your light source. So if the light source is over here, if this is my light source, the sun far away in the distance, then this is going to be the darkest side. Now, if it's floating outer space, it might cast the shadow down here. If you want it to look like it's on a ground, you can have a cast shadow like here. So don't go too crazy with this. You can always take your finger and kind of blend it around. And if you blend too much, you can take your eraser and just pick up a little bit of a highlight and lighten it up. So you can always kind of manipulate the value as you go and do some layers. I like to do gradual values because then I know I get it right. So that's kind of one other thing that you can do if you want to make some extra images or things. Kind of looks a little lopsided like an egg, which is fine. So those are some extra special shapes that you can add. And if you want to try something extraordinary, just kind of remember the rules. You follow the outer edges, and if you go through it. Now, just a quick troubleshoot, because I want to show a couple students that weren't sure what to do. If you draw a VP, if you draw a house, I'm going to draw a real little one here. Rectangular prism. So this is like another floating building because it's above the horizon line. So you always start out with your rectangle or your square just to make life easy. You start with your shape, and we do the 3 closest corners. Then just connect them to your VP. Now, sometimes students ask me, nice and lined up, light lines, 3 closest corners. Oops, that one's a little bit off. That's why I'm drawing light. So what about this corner? When you're, like I said, with a triangle, if your line goes through, if you're not sure, when in doubt, try it. Try it out with a light line. The more mistakes you make, the better. If it goes through that rectangle, and I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see this a little bit better because it's a small one. If it goes through the rectangle, it's going to look clear, like as if it was a glass cube. So if you want to do like Willy Wonka's glass elevator, which would be pretty cool, you could do that. So parallel line to match this side, get your right angle here, use your trick along the edge of the paper so it's parallel best you can, darken in the lines that you want to keep, and keep that one and that one. What you could do is this corner, this base little corner, draw a parallel line going vertically till it meets that other side. So I'm going to just slightly darken that in so you can see that a little bit better. And here. So this is a little bit more advanced. And then last, if you're going to make it look really three-dimensional, you're going to go over to this side from, you're going to connect those two. So this is where it's a little bit tricky. So I don't recommend doing glass or clear containers unless you feel super comfortable doing it. You can try it on a scrap sheet of paper before you get to your final. So I'm pretty pleased with our Cube Town. I think it's really fun to see all of your artwork that you're posting, so keep up the good work. Our very last step that you want to do is once you get everything drawn the way you like, is it's time to finish it up. It's time to add color. So we drew everything, we made it light. I'm going to add just like a tent curtain here. You could add extra things like way off in the distance if you want to make this like extra outer space. You can make this environment underwater. You can make planets floating around, like here's a little planet over here. There's a star over here. You could make, you know, goldfish floating in the sky. You're the artist. You use your imagination. You could have pirates. You could have Star Wars characters. You could have Baby Yoda in here. Whatever you want to do. This is your Cube Town. Add some planets in the background. Because before you add color, and I'm going to keep this sun right here, you can have some fun with using your imagination. So whatever you have at home, like you may have a package of Crazy Art washable markers, you may have crayons, you may have really cool Sharpies, these are very fine tip, or one of my favorite materials that we used earlier, or I used earlier, are color pencils, especially for an assignment like this. And I brought out my Zentangle that I made earlier in a different unit. This is all made with Sharpie and color pencils. And I like the Prismacolor ones because you get some really, really beautiful solid colors with them without pressing down too hard. But use whatever you have. Use Crayola. Use crayons. Your goal is to get these colors really nice. So what I like to do is have a scratch sheet of paper handy, or a couple of scratch sheets. And before I'm getting into my adding color, is I'm just going to test my colors. One, you want to make sure your markers work. So here's a blue marker. If you're using Sharpie, don't have another sheet. This is a washable marker, so you'd be okay. The benefits with markers are big spaces. This is a big marker. The only thing, the downside is, see how it leaves those streaks? I don't particularly love that, but if that's something you're interested in, then go for it. So if you're doing an outer space, you can do like purple and blue. You could overlap them. There's a purple one. Oh, that's a bright, there's a very vibrant purple. It's kind of like galaxy-esque. You want to do something like that. If you have paint at home, go for it, as long as you have a steady hand. So what I'd like you to do is, literally, you're going to just color in your entire space, or I would say 95% of this should be in color. So if you are ready to start, test your colors. Like this is scrap sheet of paper. This is dark brown, or it's called dark umber on this pencil, extra fancy. I'm going to color in Matilda's treehouse, right? Get that nice dark brown. So this is going to take you a while to do this with adding the color. And please take your time and make this look exceptional. This is an amazing work of art you've spent a lot of time on. Hopefully you had some fun. I had fun drawing this. I'm going to finish this up for my homework and hopefully get to post this for you so you can see. And it's nice that if you do have a special set of colored pencils, crayons, markers, that this is a perfect opportunity for you to use them. A lot of you get them as gifts from people. And look, if you don't have any of this, see I switched that brown. I'm going to overlap this because I'm going to lighten it up. If you don't have any colored pencils, crayons, markers at your house, paint, if you have a pen and you have a pencil, you could shade this whole thing in. So it's like, think of your light source, So maybe we'll do one more lesson. We'll see what I can get in here for you, talking about color and some tips and tricks with the colored pencils. And I'd like to see what these look like in color. The whole background, the entire space, please get it in color, multiple colors. You could have a starburst coming from the center. It could be underwater. It could be galaxy. It could be just one solid blue. It could be black and blue. It could be orange and purple. It could be stripes. It could be anything you want it to be with your imagination. I put a couple of student examples on the slideshow, so check those out because there are some really nice works of art from a couple years ago that students made. So have fun coloring. Can't wait to see what you come up with. Use your imagination. Thanks for working with me today. You did a great job. I'll see you next time.